Welcome everyone. These remote presentations now, I think we're all kind of getting more and more familiar with as the weeks go by, right? Mm-hmm. And I hope that for all of you finishing up your courses as your senior year, that things are moving along pretty well. There's been a little bit of a adjustment period, right, for everybody, right, including the professors and students and what have you. But it's my pleasure to welcome you to Roger Williams University. My name is Chris. I go by Chris. Students call me Chris. So if you have any questions, please feel free to address Kyler, and he can forward your questions to me. I'm also joined by Mary and Gabby. If you guys want to wave and say hello, there they are. Okay, so Mary and Gabby are two students at Roger Williams. Mary, you're a junior, right? Okay, and then Gabby is a senior. Both Mary and Gabby do research in my laboratory, and I'm excited to talk about opportunities at Roger Williams, opportunities to engage in independent research projects, and both Mary and Gabby can speak to their experiences doing biological research at Roger Williams University. So again, a warm welcome to everybody here. And I think we can kind of start off with a little bit of an excitement, right? So class of 2024, wow, all right. So college, of course, is a period of growth, of development, of learning, of working together. And over the next 4 years, you'll encounter a lot of challenges. You'll overcome a lot of hurdles. You'll grow and learn and develop in your own ways. And it's a very, very exciting time, a very enriching time. And I hope that everyone is excited for this next phase in their growth, more or less. College was a great time for me as well. So anyways, congratulations on your acceptance and welcome class of 2024. So let's talk a little bit about our biology program at Roger Williams University. And is there a way to, oh, there we go, okay. Sorry, I just had a little technical difficulty on my end. So another welcome to Roger here. And you know, when I'm here to talk about our biology program. And I am what we call an assistant professor. So I've been now at Roger Williams as a professor of biology for this is my second year, finishing up my second year of teaching and research at Roger Williams. And so I'm kind of new as well, but I'm really happy to talk about our program and our colleagues here, because we really do have a fantastic biology program with excellent courses, with a breadth of expertise amongst the faculty and with the students as well. So we pride ourselves at Roger Williams in teaching excellence. It's something that as professors, we don't just create dry lectures and expect you to attend and take notes and go home and study. We really integrate, we make a concerted effort to integrate independent research into our classes, interesting and exciting new methods of teaching to really engage students in the classroom. And so we pride ourselves in teaching excellence at the university. And we combine this with what we call experiential education, which means you're actually doing the science in the classroom. And an example of this, I teach, one of the classes I teach is Bio 200, that's genetics. And in our genetics class, we went out and went down to the local bay down here and collected species of red algae. And what we do is we took those species of red algae, extracted their DNA, we sequenced a particular gene, developed or put together phylogenetic trees, and understood the diversity of red algae species here in our local environment. And so we really try to bring independent research into our classes. And Roger Williams is a relatively small liberal arts college, but we have many opportunities in the programs of a larger university. So you get the expertise of the faculty, but with the advantage of being in small classrooms and get the personal attention of all the faculty members here. So we're excited for you to come and begin changing the world with your science. there we go. Sorry, going too fast. So let's talk a little bit about your new professors here. So the professors at Roger Williams University really have a wide background of scientific interests, of expertise. And so here's some headshots here of professors. We got Sean Collin, who does biomechanics and evolutionary ecology. He works with jellyfish. Dale Levitt and Andy Ryan are both in aquaculture. Dale does the aquaculture of bivalves, of oysters. Andy works on larval ecology in fish. Scott Rutherford does earth systems. Timothy Scott is also in aquaculture and evolution. Cody Sharp, Dr. Sharp is a marine microbial ecologist, and she studies the microbiome, that is the bacteria that coexist or are kind of in a symbiotic relationship with the native corals here in New England. Really cool research there coming out of Dr. Sharp's lab. Dr. Smolowitz runs the Aquatic Diagnostics Laboratory. She's into veterinary science. Dr. David Taylor is in fisheries biology. Paul Webb does marine mammal. And Brian Weiser does biodiversity, especially when it comes to some of the algae that are here in this area. And in fact, for the genetics project that I discussed earlier, that was in cooperation with Dr. Weiser's in his own research interests. Here's me, Chris Bertner. I'm a cellular and molecular biologist. I'll talk a little bit more about my my background and expertise, but one of the things that Mary and Gabby are both independent researchers in my lab, what we call the Molecular Longevity Lab. We're interested in extending the lifespan of organisms. And we use kind of genetic techniques primarily using CRISPR to determine genetic pathways which affect how long an organism can live for. So we try to extend the lifespan, looking for the fountain of youth, essentially, in genetic terms. We have Dr. Byrne, who does soil ecology, Dr. Espinoza, who has an interest in microbiology, especially amoeba interactions with hosts. Dr. Gerlnick, Lonnie Gerlnick, who does botany, plant physiology, especially photosynthetic plants. Dr. Marston, who is a virologist, and she studies phage viruses that infect bacteria. And so she does a lot of genetic analysis of viral isolates. Dr. Katie Mattini, who does molecular biology and also has an interest in pedagogy, and Dr. Carrie Warren, who does development being kind of how organs grow from the embryo. And so she does a lot with zebrafish and heart development, and she's also very engaged in the Roger Williams University Public Health Department. So our all of the courses taught at Roger Williams are done so by full-time faculty. So we're all in the biology department. We have very small classes, about average of 19 students. So in my current course right now in cellular and molecular biology, I have 15 students. And that really gives us the opportunity to really kind of learn and grow together in molecular biology. So we don't have any graduate students that teach courses here, and that really allows us to develop one-on-one mentoring relationships. All of the faculty participate in advising, and we have on average about 15 to 20 advisees, and we carve out time twice a year for 1 hour meetings for advisement purposes. And it's something that we do to, one, make sure that you are on track for graduation. We go over course offerings and try to find a schedule that's going to kind of get you into the field of work that you want to do. And so the faculty advising is something that we take very seriously. We try to match your course load with your desires and career aspirations. And the other thing is that by having a very low ratio of faculty to student ratios essentially, is that it really allows us to evaluate our students in depth, right? And that really puts our students in a great place of getting letters of recommendation for other opportunities instead of being perhaps in a large lecture where you have 200 other of your peers vying for the attention of a professor. Here, we get to know each other quite well, areas for development and growth, and so our letters of recommendation are very well tailored to individual students. So the other thing is that we're all active scientists. You know, we come to teach classes, and that is a big part of our profession, right? And as a scientist, and hopefully as you kind of grow in your training as a scientist, right, that you'll also find that mentorship is a really kind of important part of being a scientist, teaching, right? We're never, as a community of scientists, we're always trying to teach each other. We're always trying to advance knowledge, right, for the greater good, right? So that we scientists generally are not very selfish people. Like when we learn something, we want to share that with the community and the world, right? And so as active scientists, which we are, we value working with our undergraduate researchers. Mary and Gabby have done quite amazing things, and you know that with their help and with their hard work and efforts, we've made some progress, I think, in our research aims there. And so we present at regional, national, and international conferences. We present our research, independent research. We publish our work in professional peer-reviewed journals. And when we work as a community of scientists, right, we go out and we collaborate with other institutes, with other scientists, and collaborations with the undergraduate students there. We tend to learn things from that community and bring them back to implement here at Roger Williams University. And I think I need to update, this says here we've secured over 2 million in grants in 2018. I need to update my numbers here. But just as an example, our lab where we study the kind of the genetics and biochemistry of aging and longevity, we've been able to secure, just in our lab alone, up to $300,000 for that line of research. So it's great that we are active scientists, we're pursuing grant money that allows us to do some of the science that we want to do. Should I take a break here and ask, are there any questions so far?
So we have two good questions I think get the kind of heart of the program. To start off with, the first one, a student in the chat named Hannah was thinking about double majoring in biology and I'm guessing aquaculture and aquarium science as a broader alternative to marine biology, give her a little more flexibility in the job market in grad school. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think a lot of our undergraduates do double major, and with aquaculture and biology, the opportunity is there to do that. And and I think that that's good, you know, depending on your what you kind of want to do as a job as well. And I think with the biology, right? So with aquaculture, it's a very kind of specialized niche, right? So you're going to be learning some very specialized skills, tools, that kind of thing that you're going to develop in that department. And double majoring in biology gives, I would think, give you, Hannah, the ability to really integrate some of the more molecular science into aquaculture. And just as kind of an example of how we are doing that here at Roger Williams right now. So I'm, again, a geneticist, a molecular biologist, and we just got another grant actually that I put in with Dr. Andy Ryan, who's in aquaculture science, right? So we come from two completely different backgrounds with two completely different skill sets. And we successfully got a grant to try to use CRISPR gene editing technology into rotifers in order to improve the nutrient value of rotifers, which are essentially used as larval fish food. And so that's kind of a great example of how we can, as molecular science, molecular biology, and aquaculture can come together to kind of advance the science behind rearing fish. Was there another question, Kyler?
Yep, we got two more in there somewhat related. So the
Okay.
first one, they're both talking about our pre-professional health track programs. Someone's interested in pre-physical therapy and wanting to know if biology is a good fit for that. And then
Absolutely.
someone saying they're leaning more towards bio because they want to work with animals. What class in the biology program work with that, and / any info on the pre-vet track?
Yes, absolutely. So and I don't have my list of courses here with me right now, but for both of those questions, and I'll start with, I think it was physical therapy was one of the questions there. And so for the pre and professional health tracks, there's definitely courses that you're going to want to take to put you in the best possible position to apply for those professional programs after your undergraduate education. So if the question was, should I be a biology major if I'm interested in physical therapy, the answer to that is a pretty overwhelming yes, I believe. You'll want to be taking things like anatomy and physiology. That's a 200 level biology course, right? Because those kinds of things are very important to human health. Microbiology, genetics you'll have to take as part of the biology program. Did I mention microbiology, virology, immunology? These courses are very important, of course, for human health and disease, and are in line with your curriculum to get you to a professional program in physical therapy. The other question was about veterinary medicine. And so
veterinary medicine, just being interested in working with animals, which is why she's leaning towards a biology degree.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so depending on we've got many different courses there too for a veterinary school as well. And in fact, we have one of our full-time faculty is a veterinarian who does pathology of shellfish, and that's Dr. Smolowitz. And so her lab, they develop and implement diagnostic tests, right, to determine whether or not shellfish contain disease or parasites, more or less. So she's a trained veterinarian, and there's, depending on what kind of veterinary medicine you're interested in, we do have anatomy and physiology that's specific for mammals that Dr. Paul Webb teaches. And there's other kinds of courses too. So I mean, some with human health and with veterinary medicine, there's some overlap between those things as well. So microbiology and virology or immunology is being very important to both human health and for veterinary medicine as well.
I just want to comment really quickly. So we do offer animal physiology, animal behavior, herpetology classes, which is more like snakes and reptiles. In addition to your Bio 104 class is ecology based. So that means that it's not necessarily based on marine life and marine animals, but ecology as like a whole total system. So if you are looking for those kinds of classes, they're definitely available to you. And you also have marine bio classes as well.
Did either of you take those classes? Because the student was specifically asking about animal behavior. She followed up. So I don't know if either of you have experience in that, can talk about it.
I haven't taken any animal-based classes, but I know people who've taken animal behavior and they really enjoyed it, as well as marine and zoo vert.
Yeah, same. I don't have any. I more on just a biology and more like human biology side, so I haven't taken those classes, but I've heard really positive responses from the students that have taken them. I believe that Dale Levitt teaches one of those classes, and he's just a stellar professor. I had him for 104 and I had a really great time.
Good. I think that's it for questions in the chat at the moment. Again, everyone, please feel free to chip in there when you continue with your presentation.
Okay, thank you. And thanks, Mary and Gabby, for contributing that. That's great. So, so again, for pre-health professions, genetics, anatomy and physiology, microbiology, developmental biology, cell biology and lab. This is one of my courses here that I teach. We also have a biotechnology and biotechnology certification at Roger Williams as well. So here we're looking at virology and immunology, animal nutrition and lab, so Bio 392. Metabolism and disease. This was a course that I teach as well on human disease, and it turns out that it's really interesting to look at particular kinds of diseases through the lens of metabolic functions in cells. And so we look at diabetes, we look at cardiovascular disease, and we look at cancer through with this idea that these are diseases of metabolic dysfunction. We have core seminars on disease and society, and we also offer a slew of public health courses and special topics there as well as part of our public health department at Roger Williams. Okay, so as I indicated, in the laboratory, we try to bring students to the laboratory in order to answer unknown questions, things that we don't know the answer to. And this kind of goes back to the experiment that we did in our genetics course, where we were looking at the diversity of red algae species in the Narragansett Bay. And so we have the opportunity just in our curriculum, right, in the classes that we teach here, we try to make those as experiential as possible, making sure that students are getting the skills that are required to answer unknown questions about the world around us. And we do this a lot in our independent research as well, so in the laboratories, and this is where Gabby and Mary can speak a little bit more to this. But as a student at Roger Williams, you have the opportunity to work in a laboratory to get one-on-one training and mentoring from the professors who are currently doing research. And I think this is kind of a very important aspect to a biology education or a degree in biology, because, and I think Mary and Gabby can both speak to this quite a lot of work in the lab is troubleshooting. It's finding out, we have a desire to build a tool or to answer a question, and we design an experiment, and perhaps the experiment that we designed didn't ask the question that we were trying to answer. Or perhaps there were technical issues in trying to approach a question through a particular kind of experiment. So Gabby, Mary, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience in the lab? And maybe I could close my ear. No, I'm kidding. But do either of you want to talk about your independent research project?
Sure. I'm working on designing a CRISPR activating system in the lab right now, and I will definitely say that most of it is troubleshooting. You kind of have to, go through your head and look through the techniques that and figure out, how can I fix this problem. My whole first semester working in the lab half of it was troubleshooting for one particular machine or instrument that we were trying to use. And it definitely reinforces all the things you learn in lab too, because you learn in class lab these techniques, but then you only do them one time. And then when you go into a research laboratory, you're doing these things over and over again, and you kind of learn a little bit more about how they work and how to use them more than you do than just doing it one time in a classroom setting. So it's definitely been very helpful in my
How many RNA extractions have you done, Mary?
Too many.
Okay. And that's important too, right? Is that the more practice that you get, the better we actually kind of become with that amount of practice. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. I agree.
Yeah, so I agree with all of the things that Mary said. And I apologize if we keep throwing out words like CRISPR or other kinds of science words that you might not be familiar with. Hopefully those are things that you would be able to get familiar with if and you're able to enjoy that one-on-one time in the lab. So I'd never thought in my life that I would have so many issues with yeast, but that's what I work with in the lab. So if you have a packet of yeast, that's what I work with in the lab, and I actually do genetic modifications on them. So I try and alter them, and I'm trying to develop a new way to introduce or to either delete or also overexpress in yeast. And so that's been a really fun feature for the past 2 years.
Thank you both. Okay. So our laboratory facilities, we have a lot of opportunity for instrumentation to carry out the experiments that we do in the laboratory. And one of the things that actually we just installed a couple of weeks ago is a brand new facility for doing mammalian tissue culture. So I'm pretty happy, and that was part of some efforts that I tried to put forward for our department. And so we just purchased a brand new sterile hood to do our work in. That's very exciting. But in addition to that, we have instrumentation for microscopy. So what we're looking at over here, if you guys can see my cursor here, and this just looks like a speckled blue dots over here. These are all the nuclei of tissue culture cells that you see over here. And one way of asking the question, you know, do we have a particular protein inside of a cell, or where is that protein localized inside of a cell, is through microscopy. And so we're able to label particular components, say the nucleus, all these little blue dots here with special chemicals that then glow under fluorescent light. And so we use fluorescent microscopy to determine the localization of proteins within the cell. And we also have confocal microscopy that we just installed about a year ago as well. And so that's kind of a kind of microscopy that gives us much more detailed information about where a particular protein is located. We do a lot of genetics, especially in my laboratory and in other laboratories across the campus. We do a lot of sequencing, cloning. Our chemistry department has quite an expertise in chromatography. So looking at small molecules, especially toxins, cellular toxins. A lot of our investigators here at Roger Williams are interested in cyanide metabolism. And that includes with chromatography spectroscopy, so looking at chemical signatures for small molecules, and nuclear magnetic resonance, which is a way of assaying chemical structures through magnetism. And we do a lot of, we have access to the facilities at both URI and Brown. So we call these core facilities, and Gabby and I have done several experiments doing kind of fluorescent imaging of cells with a technique called flow cytometry, where we're just looking to see whether or not there's a particular molecule inside of our yeast cells. And so we have taken a few trips over to URI to do our flow cytometry there. So in addition to doing research in the laboratory, again, my work is very molecular in genetics. We have a lot of opportunity to do field research in the Department of Biology as well. And so Dr. Weiser takes his phycology students out to collect seaweeds. I told you that that was something that we kind of implemented in our genetics course. Here it looks like we have some students out collecting shellfish here. We also have a field work being done in the vein of internships as well. And Mary, do you want to talk a little bit about your work with FMRIC?
Yeah, so I'm part of a group on campus called FMRIC. It stands for the Foundation for International Medical Relief of Children. We travel internationally to sites that FMRIC as an organization has, and we do medical care. So I recently went to Costa Rica 2 years ago and Ecuador this past year, and we were able to work in medical clinics alongside physicians that are part of the community in their respective countries. And we do a lot of other things like on campus where we help run the blood drive. We do a lot of off-campus volunteering. It's a really good way to get involved if you're interested in any kind of pre-med, or if you're just looking to help. We have a lot of students in our club that are education majors or finance majors, or just want to be involved in some type of way. It's really an awesome experience to be able to, go to other countries and see how their healthcare systems work and help people who definitely don't have the same access to healthcare as we do.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow. Yeah. Okay. And the biology department here again has some very unique programs to Roger Williams. Again, we have the aquaculture aquarium science program, a biotechnology certificate, which comes with taking a few additional classes to get the biotechnology certificate. We have a PharmD dual degree program where students who complete their 4-year degree here can fast track for a 3-year PharmD at the Albany School of Pharmacy. We have our public health program here at Roger Williams University as well. So people who are interested in epidemiology or public health concerns or health disparities is something that I think that a lot of students are drawn to. We have a program in sustainability studies, and we also have several different opportunities for faculty-led study abroad opportunities as well. And I wanted to say one thing. So I think students just recently got back, and I think there's another slide for this, so I'll hold off on that, but a trip to Belize to study tropical ecology down there, but I think we'll get to that here shortly. So in 2019, over 80% of our graduates had more than one major, so the opportunity to double major is very common. And Mary, you're a major also in?
Yeah, I'm a biology major and a chemistry major.
Oh, okay. I was thinking history, but you're getting a minor in history.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Thanks. So in biology, there's a lot of overlap with chemical science as well, and so that's something that many students do as well. And many of our undergraduates participate in experiential learning, be that independent research projects in the laboratory, external internships, and community partnerships with other institutes nearby. And so we have interdisciplinary collaborations. I told you about our recent grant for doing genetic modification in rotifers for the aquaculture industry. There's a lot of overlap between biology and chemistry as far as cyanide detection that goes on in the fish trade, designing solar-powered aquaculture systems, and in biology and physics, building saltwater aquaculture sensors as well. So there's a lot of opportunity to kind of crosstalk between those departments as I've mentioned. And so there's many different ways that students come in faculty as well, right? We all have, we're not just one-dimensional when it comes to our interests. We always have other things that we're interested in. I'm a musician as well, right? And so we really encourage, as a liberal arts setting, for students to explore ways in which our skills in, say, drama or movie or music or a foreign language or something like that can enhance, things like our understanding of biology. And so there's many opportunities, and we encourage students to really explore the different intersections of our hobbies and our interests. And here, yeah, so we've got several opportunities for study abroad as well. There are semester-long programs, trips to Bermuda for the Institute of Ocean Sciences there. There's also what we call Sea Semester at Woods Hole that students have participated in. And those are semester-long programs, but in addition to the semester-long study abroad opportunities, I think we also have several different short-term programs, and this is the one that I was just thinking about. Yeah, tropical ecology here. So both Dr. Webb and Dr. Byrne just came back from Belize over the winter before, of course, there was a bit of a health concern, right, which has put a damper on our travels of late. But they just returned from Belize this winter to take students down there to study tropical ecology. And Dr. Weiser, who does research with algae, frequently visits Panama to study neotropical marine biology there as well. And so this short-term program here was a 2-week stint in Belize, and I'm not sure how long the Panama trip is, but I think that happens in the winter as well. So we really pride ourselves on being a community of scholars. I said that, in science, there's a lot of opportunity of teaching each other, right? And that's one of the things that's really important in biology. And so we have, for instance, the Marine Science Club. We have a chapter of Tri Beta. Mary, Gabby, are you on Tri Beta?
Yeah, I'm part of Tri Beta.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to speak a little bit to that?
I'm kind of new to Tri Beta. I just joined last year. Gabby, are you part of Tri Beta?
Yeah, so I'm a part of Tri Beta. It's an honor society where students have above a 3.3 GPA in all of your biology classes. And then the club has a lot of different opportunities. So throughout the school year, we put together trips to either like aquarium visits in Boston, or also like the Boston Museum of Science. And in addition to that, if you are interested in research, through Tri Beta, there are special grants that you can apply for that are just for people that are a part of the Tri Beta Honor Society. And they also have a little, it's called like a BIOS magazine. So students could have the opportunity to actually like publish their research in an undergraduate journal for science.
Cool, thank you. And so in addition to our Tri Beta Honor Society and our science clubs, we come together weekly. Well, we did when we were not under quarantine here, right? For our science seminar series, our Marine and Natural Sciences seminar series, where we invite speakers both near here at Roger Williams and at other institutes afar as well, to come present on their cutting edge research. And that's an opportunity to learn from other experts outside of Roger Williams and to share our knowledge with each other. So we have a scuba club as well. It looks like they tried to carve pumpkins under the water. I don't scuba dive, but it looks like they were mildly successful with that. A science alliance for general chemistry, a tutoring session, and FEMRIC here again. That Mary described her experience with the Foundation for the International Medical Relief of Children. We have an annual Meet Your Advisor event. And again, as I indicated, we take advising very seriously here. We want to make sure that, that students are making satisfactory progress, and that your courses and that your efforts that you're putting into your college experience here align with your career aspirations or goals after your undergraduate education. And a PI, your professor, you'll notice I was not in this, I'm not represented here in this particular photo. Actually, this was before, I indicated I'm kind of a new professor here as well, this being my second year. They haven't pied my face yet, but I'm sure that might happen one day. Okay. Okay, so as I indicated, we, in the biology department, are active scientists, and we really rely upon, well, I really rely upon Mary and Gabby, right, to generate data for the laboratory. And there's several different opportunities or ways that students can become involved in research. And one of those happens to be for credit. So you can apply for biology 450 credit, so you can get credit for being in the laboratory. You can apply for a senior thesis, which is Bio 451, and there's also opportunities to work in the lab for work study as well. So Gabby, you are working on your thesis right now, and Mary is in the process of applying for her senior thesis. Do either of you want to speak a little bit about your experiences with that?
So I am I'm kind of at the end, almost the finish line for my senior thesis, which is really exciting. I just want to clarify that that's not required by the biology major. It's something that you can choose to do if you want to, just in case anybody's like, a thesis is not for me. It's not required, but it is really exciting. The department, you get to write a proposal and they look it over, you get review comments, you have to make a committee, and you meet a few times within each semester. And then also something that's really exciting is that at the end of this semester, at least it will be happening virtually now, you get to present that work to the rest of the faculty and department of M&S, which is the Marine and Natural Sciences building. And also on top of senior thesis, you can also apply for something called a seed grant, which is more money. It's about $1,000, and it's the same process of making a proposal and then also checking in with the seed people and giving them updates. So there's a lot of opportunities to fund your own independent research. Yeah, so Gabby, you got the seed grant, and then Mary was just awarded the seed grant last semester, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Yep. So and that's always something when students come to me who are interested in applying for funding. I always am like, yes, please. Funding's always a great thing, right? It's a great thing to have on your resume of experience. And it indicates a real kind of drive and talent for, if you can prove that you have a history of securing funds, that's always a great thing in the field of biology. Okay, so scientific meetings, our students accompany their professors to scientific meetings across the country and even abroad, Czech Republic, the World Aquaculture Society meeting, right? So lots of opportunities to travel the nation and internationally to work with the community of scholars at large, right? To share what we're doing here at Roger Williams and to learn from other professors at other institutions what they're doing and how they're approaching their scientific endeavors. And the opportunity is also there to publish, right? So oftentimes we think of publications as being a very important part of biological science because it takes oftentimes, a lot of answers to questions that we're interested in solving and packaging those together to tell a story about how the natural world works. And so we publish at Roger Williams along with undergraduates here. So you'll see that the undergraduate authors are in yellow. So here's research coming out of Dr. Taylor's lab here on predator-induced mortality of fish here, winter flounder. Okay. We've got publications coming out of Sean Collins' lab, feeding success of this particular kind of jellyfish here. The half-life of thiocyanate, right? It turns out that cyanide, the use of cyanide in fishing is one way to kind of stun fish in order to capture them for the trade. It turns out to be quite damaging to the fish and to the environment as well. And so that's ways of measuring whether or not fish have been caught through cyanide treatment, which is now I think illegal, but still happens in the trade. This is coming from Dr. Smolowitz's lab, looking at species of microbacterium, so bacterium that cause disease in shellfish, in that case, the Atlantic sea scallop. We have interactions between microbiology, right? So microbiome with a particular kind of coral called Astrangia poculata, which is native to the New England marine environment. Again, publications coming from thiocyanate research. Can we determine that in fish? And then also mercury content of particular aquatic species of crabs in the New England marine environment as well. And more research, right? This coming out of Sean Collins' lab again, the effects of turbulence and the predatory impact of these jellyfish species. Okay, so in addition to these opportunities, we also have the ability to invite students in for research opportunities over the summer. And Mary, you've done this, you were a surf student. Oh, both Mary and Gabby were summer undergraduate research fellows at URI last summer, correct?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, that's right. But we do that here at Roger Williams as well. And Mary, you're going to be working with me this summer?
Yes.
So we have a 10-week research opportunity, and that is really a special opportunity to engage in because during the academic year with courses, with other obligations, we're often quite strapped for time and bandwidth. Even the professors are too, because we have our classes to teach as well. But during the summer, it's kind of a bit more less, we have less obligations and things like that. So we get to focus on the research that we want to do. And so it gives us the time to kind of work together one-on-one with students and faculty to develop skills in experimental design, to dive a little bit deeper into a certain kind of biological question that we're interested in answering. And these research opportunities over the summer come with free housing for students who are participating in research. So you get to stay here on campus over the summer. And even with the current restrictions on students coming to campuses, we're anticipating still hosting this, at least for this coming summer, our summer research fellowships. They'll just be delayed a little bit. So I think typically we start at the beginning of May. We're going to push that off until about mid-June this coming year. So I'm excited to have students come work in the lab with me again this summer. And it's pretty chill too. It's kind of like we're just focusing on science, so we get to have fun. We've got cornhole boards with Roger Williams logo on it. So we go out into during breaks when our gels are running or our experiments are running and we've got time, we go out and play cornhole or go out to lunch. It's a lot of fun. And we have, we try to train our students, right, to be prepared for their careers or for their next steps. And Gabby, you have some big news, I think?
Yeah, so I have recently just accepted an admissions offer for the University of Michigan. It's for a PhD in molecular and cellular pathology. During my interviews, I felt like I kept telling people from a small liberal arts university, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter because I was able to have these experiences at this university that qualified me to be an applicant and have success to be able to pursue a PhD next fall.
Yeah, and so, and I'm especially proud of you, Gabby. You're my first student to go on to a PhD, right? And I've only been here for 2 years, so I couldn't be more proud of having you go on to that. So that's a really exciting next step, I think, in your training. I'm really excited to see where it takes you. It's going to be a lot of fun. But we at Roger Williams, are thinking about your future and trying to prepare you as best as possible for the kinds of skills that you're going to need to move forward. And we have, we're cognizant of internship opportunities outside of Roger Williams as well. So here's a list of different kinds of internship opportunities, including that at the Audubon Society, the New England Aquarium up in Boston, Save the Bay, which is an effort here at the Narragansett Bay in Rhode Island, at the Roger Williams Park Zoo as well, and at Mystic Aquarium in Connecticut as well. So we try to get students those experiences which are going to advance their professional careers. And I have a student who there's a partnership for a cancer-free Rhode Island, which is a small effort to promote advocacy for cancer patients. Oftentimes, it's difficult for patients to find the kinds of resources that are most helpful to them, and navigating through the medical profession, like hospitals and such, can be quite daunting and overwhelming for patients who are going through treatment. And so the Partnership for Cancer-Free Rhode Island is an effort to come into local communities to help patients find those kinds of resources that are going to be helpful for them. And so I had one of my students who was in one of my classes get an internship opportunity there, and she was just hired to start this summer as a full-time employee there. So oftentimes these internships you do throughout the school year are powerful networking tools for your next step after your undergraduate education. So here's another list of internship opportunities here. The Rhode Island Department of Health, which is the Partnership for Cancer-Free Rhode Island, is actually underneath the Rhode Island Department of Health. Let's see what else. Family Service, the Bristol Health Equity Zone, and the Rhode Island Free Clinic as well. Okay, I would like to take a moment here. I just kind of want to see, yeah, I think we've kind of made the case here that we're invested in cultivating the new generation of scientists, right? I mean, it's always exciting to see students come in to kind of carve their own path and to make a change in the world of how we think about biology, right? we often think that the sciences, we have all the answers, right? But actually, we have all the questions. And so we're always trying to find new answers or new approaches to addressing scientific problems. And these, I think we take advantage of each other to leverage our expertises, our skills, our individual drives to really stitch together a community of scientists to answer those kinds of questions. And so I think with that, this would be a good place to, first of all, just indicate thank you all for joining this remote session. I hope that it was exciting. I hope that I was able to inspire a little bit and really get you excited about these upcoming opportunities that await you. And I just wanted to put down here, make sure that if you have a pen and paper to jot down my email address. So my last name is Burtner, so it's CBURTNER @RWU.edu. And if you have any questions for me, just shoot me an email, say that you participated in this Accepted Students Day on April 4th, and that you have a question either about curriculum or opportunities or double majoring or anything like that, and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. So again, thanks for attending the session, and I'm excited to meet you come the fall, and I'll be happy to take any other questions that anyone may have.
So we have one question in the chat, and then after that, anyone can open up with either their mic or ask in the chat still. But Hannah asked about the double major in biology and aquarium science, wanting to know when she can start with both of those programs. I think she's referring to the fact that aquaculture and aquarium science program you apply into or not immediately accepted into. I was wondering if you could talk about that nuance at all.
Talk about the nuance of, I'm sorry?
Starting with the biology and aquarium science, how do those classes overlap? When can she be starting in both of them?
Yeah, so Hannah, when you begin when you come in the fall, there's some kind of common courses that are going to be useful for you to take. And the first is going to be Biology 103 and Biology 104. So Bio 104 is a requirement of the aquaculture course, and Bio 103 and 104 is a requirement for the biology degree. So those kinds of classes are going to be important for you. So your intro biology series is going to be important, and you might start looking at your both your chemistry and your mathematics as well. So both biology and aquarium science have requirements for chemistry and math, and when you come, you'll be in the fall, you'll probably be looking at which kinds of classes you need to take to clear some of those kind of introductory courses in both biology and chemistry. Typically, in your second year, you can begin to think about some of the upper level electives for both biology and for aquaculture. And so that would be a time to start thinking about which classes that you'd like to take to satisfy those, to satisfy your requirements for those two programs.
That seems to be it for questions, unless someone wants to jump in now. All right. Thank you all so much for your time and coming to this presentation. We're really excited that you are so engaged and took the time to spend an hour with us. Again, we wish that we were all on campus together. This is a really great time. So thank you all for coming. If you have any questions, like I said, reach out to Chris. You can reach out to the admission office. And in the link in the chat, also listed all the other virtual presentations we have coming up in the next week or so, including ones on student life, other majors or minors you might be thinking about, and other things about the school. But thank you all for coming.
Thank you.